Join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to our Monday, June 6th school board meeting. And we'll start off with our agenda approval, deletions, additions. Mrs. Mucha, who's filling in.
Thank
for
you very
Dr.
much.
Bartlett.
You will see under 1, number 8, under mine, for certified appointments. Under 2, you'll see some of those changes under personnel.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Dr. Malko,
Second.
second by Dr. Medlin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Is there any correspondence, Mrs. Kelly?
None to report this evening.
All right, we'll move right into our liaison committee updates. Mr. Marshall?
I have nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Mrs. Kelly?
I have nothing for the redevelopment commission for Cherville. Cherville Parks Department, the splash pad construction's been pushed back a little bit due to all the rain. We're looking at hopefully ribbon cutting July 20th. And the improvements at Rorman Park are either finished or any day now. So, and that's all.
Thank you. Dr. Medlin?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Malko?
I have something to report. Something to report about Lake Central Education Foundation from Mrs. Talent, the board president. They're going to meet on Monday evening, this coming Monday, if any of you are interested in joining. They will be discussing additional fundraisers, the 5K race, which is in November, and looking at another fundraiser, more details in the future. A reminder to everyone that grants can be written by Lake Central School Corporation staff members, and they would be due September 26th. Thank you. And I have nothing for legislative and nothing for Dyer Parks, except that they have changed their meeting now to the third Tuesday of the month, if anyone is interested. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the St. John Redevelopment Commission, I have nothing for Dollars for Scholars. We are gearing up for Homecoming 2022. If you're interested, reach out to Mrs. Rana Resnick and we'll let you know when those meetings are. So we'll move on to our official school board business topics consent agenda. Mrs. Mucha.
Thank you. I am seeking approval of the minutes from the special board meeting of May 16th and the regular board meeting of May 16th. Also approval of claims, payroll, and extracurricular expenditures.
I move to approve both sets of minutes and the claims, payroll, and expenditure.
Second that motion.
We have a motion by Dr. Medlin and a second by Mr. Marshall. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
There are no public comments regarding action items, so we'll move right into our official school board business topics regular agenda. Mrs. Mucha.
Thank you. We have some exciting recognitions this evening, and we're going to first start with Mrs. Tucker and with Home and School. If we'd like to go down.
Thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. We would like to take a moment and just recognize the Home and Math Bowl team. And before we start the recognitions, I would like to call the coaches up that help this team excel in the competitions. And that is Mrs. Lynn Malatestinick and Miss Tina Miljevic. On April 12th, Holman participated in the elementary math bowl competition that was held at Kaler Middle School. The team of 16 fourth grade students was led by our two coaches, Mrs. Lynn Malatestinick and Miss Tina Miljevic, and Holman placed 8th in the state out of 64 teams. We're so very proud of them, and now I'm going to turn the mic over to the coaches, and we will call the team down for the recognition.
Luz Bastista, Lauren Brune, Victoria Bustos, Kamora Conwell, Emily Zato, Logan Gorlick, Zoe Hemphill, Johnny Jordan III, Yug Patel, Kyler Richards, Aubrey Rosick, Violet Sante, Preston Scarbina, Anderson Smith, Lucas Treasure, and Gage Weber. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you guys want to move? Yeah, you guys come here. We'll get out of the way.
Parents, this would be your time to get a picture also.
Now, one from Kaler Middle School, we have Ms. Barb Kepchar to present for this.
Excuse me, parents, before you leave, home and parents, would you all stand so we can give you a round of applause because we know you're a big part of this success. Home and parents. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to invite our coach, Mr. David Sidler, up here. Our academic Super Bowl team scored first place at regionals and third place in the state in English. They also scored first place at regionals and the top 10 place in state in social studies. I will have Coach Sidler go ahead and announce our team and present the certificates.
Ivan Carey couldn't be here today, so I'll keep that for him. Madeline McNabney. Jocelyn McNabney. Atira Nekwe. Alexis Grosskirth. Good job. That's it. Thank you very much. I appreciate your recognition. Okay, sure. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's yours.
Yeah, well, it was all that. No, first year. So, well, honestly.
I know.
And not to leave out the high school, Mrs. Regan, would you like to introduce our Skills USA team?
Good evening. Each year, some of our students qualify to compete in Skills USA. Skills USA is a partnership of students, teachers, and industry working together to ensure America has a skilled workforce. A nonprofit national education association, Skills USA serves middle school, high school, and college and post-secondary students preparing for careers in trade, technical, and skilled service occupations. Skills USA is recognized by the U.S. Department of Education and the U.S. Department of Labor as a successful model of employer-driven workforce development. This year, 6 of our students won medals in the state Skills USA competition held April 8th and 9th in Indianapolis. Some of these students attend our Hammond Area Career Center that we partnership with, and we do have some students that went to Skills USA through their class here at Lake Central. So the first one is Joseph Hubiger, who won gold in cabinet making. I got the pleasure of seeing him tote that cabinet around during our Bring Anything But a Backpack Day to school. It was very nice. The next one is Caleb Bracey, who won silver in criminal justice. The next one is Vincent Villa, who received a silver in automobile maintenance and light repair. The next one is Dylan Derringer, who won bronze in precision machine. The next one is Cadence Kissinger, who won bronze in digital cinema. And our last one is Hunter Helson, who also won bronze in digital cinema. Thank you.
Some pictures and proud parents. Could they stand up, please, so we can recognize them?
Nice job. That's great.
There you go.
They knew my part.
So that must give you a good feeling, Mrs. Castaneda, to see these students perform like that with all the energy and effort into that skills classes that we have. Same thing to the high school staff. Good job.
Ready? I'm also seeking approval for the school board policies A through L that were in your packets that you have discussed at the work session previously.
I have a motion by Mr. Marshall,
Second?
second by Mrs. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move right on to our Director of Human Resources, Mrs. Muccio.
Well, here we are. I'm recommending that the following personnel be approved. That was in your packet.
Motion to approve?
A motion by Mrs. Kelly,
Second.
second by Dr. Medlin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I also included the 2023-24 school calendar in your packet that had already been approved by LCTA.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Marshall,
Second.
second by Dr. Medlin. Any discussion?
I just wish we didn't start so early, that's all I wish. But I know that's the trend that's out there, so we just go with it. Thank
I
you.
think the high school teachers were also interested in finishing before Christmas.
I totally get all that.
All right. We had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
And we'll move right on to our Director of Secondary Education, Mrs. Castaneda.
Thank you. For my first item, I am seeking your approval for the professional leave requests that were in your packet.
Move to approve the professional leave requests.
We have a motion by Dr. Medlin,
Second?
second by Mrs. Kelly. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. For my second item, I am seeking your approval for the field trip request.
Motion to approve the field trip request?
We have a motion by Mrs. Kelly, and I will second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And then for my last item, I wanted to inform the board of a change that we're going to be making with the high school Core 40 diploma requirements. When the Core 40 diploma was started in the state of Indiana, many high schools, including Lake Central, set our requirements above 40 because of the opportunities that students have to earn credits. If you think about it, whether on a block schedule or a typical traditional high school schedule, students have 7 classes every semester. So if they have 8 semesters throughout their entire high school career, that's 56 opportunities for credit, which is why a lot of high schools felt like raising the bar a little bit above the 40 minimum that the state had put out. However, as I've shared at previous board meetings, we're now under a new model with graduation pathways. If you recall, that went into effect in 2017, and it's fully into effect with this year's graduating class of 2023. And that brings some extra criteria to the table for our graduates. If you recall from that, there's 3 different things they have to accomplish. The first is achieving that Core 40 diploma at minimum. The second one is demonstrating the employability skills through project, work-based, or service-based learning. And then the last one is the post-secondary competencies, and they can demonstrate that through either test scores, AP courses, CTE courses, and a couple of other different things. So all those things now land on our students' plates. And what we're starting to see then is a trend amongst the other area high schools in Northwest Indiana and around the state where they're backing down back to that Core 40 true requirement. So just for a little perspective, over the past few years, Crown Point, Munster, Valparaiso, Portage, LaPorte, and Michigan City are now requiring only 40 credits because students have those additional graduation pathway requirements to achieve. Chesterton, out of the Duneland Conference, is at 42, but they're actually looking at walking that back in the next year or two. And then Maryville's at 45, but they're on trimesters, so every year their kids have more opportunities for credit even than our students because they have 3 different, grading periods. So we're currently sitting at 46. As I said, some other schools in the state like Carmel, West Lafayette, Center Grove, schools that we try to mark ourselves against, they also have dropped to 40. So we believe with the rigor of the graduation pathways that we want to follow suit and drop down to that Core 40 true 40 credit requirement, so that way our students can then focus on meeting those additional criteria from graduation pathways. And so that's how we're going to move forward starting next school year. I know it's a lot of information. Do you guys have any questions?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what the first criteria was with the graduation pathways. What did you say?
The first one is the diploma itself.
The diploma, okay. Well, okay, if we're dropping down to 40, will that have an impact on staffing needs?
No, it should not.
Okay.
We talked to the other school districts who have already dropped down, and they said they haven't seen a change in students graduating early, which I think is kind of the big concern that everybody has. most students want to stay in high school for 4 years before they have to make that decision about what they want to do after they graduate. And so they really didn't see a huge uptick in the early graduates.
Okay. And since you're talking about diploma, do you mind if I ask you a question? There's the Core 40, and then there's the technical diploma.
There's the Core 40 with technical honors and the Core 40 with academic honors. And so students will still have to go 7 credits beyond the 40 in order to achieve those.
7 credits beyond?
Correct.
Okay, okay. And to achieve the technical endorsement, so many classes then are required?
They have to take so many classes within CTE in order
Okay.
to get the technical honors. And there also are some requirements for what their GPA is in those courses.
Okay. All right, sounds good, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to our Director of Student Services, Mrs. Granalo.
Okay, my first item tonight is to just give you a little update on some professional development we've been doing. And this is funded through our American Rescue Plan grant, which was designated for designated funds to support students with special needs. So we had a group of teachers spend a lot of time this school year, and I wanted to bring this to your attention. We had 4 teachers complete 14 hours of independent study and coaching through PCG, and those were teachers in our Applied Skills program, and it was called a teacher boot camp to help them work on inclusive practices and strengthening their curriculum. Then we had 2 teachers who were completing the second year of that program, so this was their second go-around in that. And the second year really focuses on inclusive practices, and those teachers also completed 14 hours of education throughout the school year. And then we have a group of 4 teachers who is giving up time in the summer to work on curriculum mapping. And so that's specific to the content connectors for our applied skills population. So we're partnering with Crown Point to do that, which is nice, so it gives them an opportunity to work with a larger group of teachers. And we have teachers from each developmental level. We're gonna start focusing on English language arts, but then hopefully be able to take those skills and carry on to our math also. We've also, the other thing we've done so far with our American Rescue Plan grant is work with our occupational therapy staff and our resource teachers to provide more sensory materials to our schools. So we let the teachers and the OTs work together on that, purchasing things like flexible seating, light filters for the classrooms, fidgets, trampolines, sensory pathway activities. So that's where we're at and some of the things we have going on right now. Questions?
Of course. Just because that's who I am, not because, just because it's me, but now that you have a year under your belt where the students have been back in school in a somewhat normal environment, could you, and I don't want to put you in the spot if you don't want to answer this, but what are you seeing, and maybe that would go to Dr. Bracey too, what are you seeing with student needs after the pandemic and the issues that have occurred?
I think all of us would agree that we are still seeing some pretty significant effects for our students. We've all had conversations about things we need to do differently moving forward. A lot of need for social emotional supports for students in particular, academic gaps that we are still trying to fill. I think part of what we're doing with summer school this year is trying to continue to close those gaps. I think we have the largest group for summer school we've had in a long time. So there is a lot of need, and we will continue to talk and plan together to work towards addressing that. But it's definitely not normal by any stretch of the imagination. I think we're still in recovery mode.
Wow. Yeah, I was reading some grants for an agency out of Maryville today, and I saw reference to the COVID pandemic and the impact it's had on their family units and the drug and alcohol abuse that has surfaced. So I know we're not exempt from that. I mean, we're going to be affected. And of course, I will say, just as I say every year, I would love to see us add an additional program at the primary level, be it developmental kindergarten or transitional or something to help those children. But thank you both for sharing. Did you have anything else?
No, I agree with Becky. We're also seeing, at the kindergarten level, we're seeing a lot of students struggle with phonics. And so we need to make sure we have that for them next school year. So we are working on that with our reading team.
Absolutely, okay.
And that's actually a conversation Mrs. Castaneda and I have had, even with our middle school students, where we're seeing gaps in
Phonetic
phonics.
awareness, they're not,
Right, so we're talking about ways we can address that with our older students as well.
gosh. Well, good luck on it. I mean, that's a big project. Phonemic awareness is so important.
We have a great team to,
Hmm?
we have a great team in place, so.
Yeah, yeah. And I know that I believe for everybody on the board that you would have our support with anything that you would come forward with to augment and try to get those positions a little bit more defined for our students.
Thank you, appreciate the support.
I'm sorry, could I ask just a quick question? It's actually with regard to the professional leave request, which is, of course, is fine, but I had to Google it, augmentative and alternative communication. So does that have to do like with pragmatics of language for students? or-
AAC, which is what the augmentative and alternative communication is, those are communication devices and methodologies for primarily nonverbal students.
Okay.
So we use primarily what's called the LAMP protocol, which is language acquisition and motor planning, but they are computer-based devices that students select picture icons and then the device speaks for them. So it gives the student a voice. What we find is that when we start that early, it really helps to develop spoken language as well. So this particular conference is one that is in my professional leave request that I'm going to ask you about next, that is specific to Indiana, and it's some speech language pathologists in Indiana that have really been supportive of SLPs across the state in developing those skills.
Thank you. I didn't mean to,
You're
I
welcome.
could have emailed you ahead of time about that, but
okay.
I just.
That's okay.
Thank you.
So that is my next item, to seek your approval for the professional leave request.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Mrs. Kelly,
Second.
second by Dr. Melko. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Becky.
We'll move on to our Director of Facilities, Mr. Ledger.
Thank you. Tonight I have 5 items, 3 I'll be seeking your approval on. The first one is to seek your approval to award and execute the contract for the Coling West parking lot and the south end of the west lot by the gym for resurface and paving. I had 3 people bid the project, Milestone, which is formerly Walsh and Kelly, and Reith Riley and Site Services. And Site Service was the low bidder at $116,465, so I seek your approval to award them that work.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Marshall,
Second.
second by Dr. Medlin. Any questions?
Bill, did you say Walsh and Kelly changed their name?
Yes, they did. They went into a larger group, and a larger group bought them out, so they are now Milestone Contractors.
I was not aware of that, thank you.
That's recent, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. My next item is to seek your approval and award and execute the contract for the Clark Middle School West Entry Drive and parking lot, milling and resurfacing as well. The same 3 bidders bid that work. And Site Services was low on that as well for $91,405. So I seek your approval and award Site Services that work as well.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Marshall,
Second?
second by Mrs. Kelly. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. My last action item is to seek your approval to award the contract for the East Exit Drive at
I will second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Thank-
opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, and all that work will be completed this summer, so
Great.
I'll award those contracts tomorrow, Wednesday. My next item is just a brief update on the Bivich project. The drawings are completed. The advertisements are out for bid. We are getting bids on June 28th. I was at the town of Dyer last Wednesday, and we got approval from the Stormwater Management Board as well as the Planning Commission, so all the approval process for that has been done with the exception of the permitting process, but with that approval now we can go for our permit. Right now, we're in for we have a site permit issued to the town. We've got, the drawings are in for all that. We have the state design release for that portion of work. So hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, we'll be getting the permit. And we're hoping to start probably right after the 4th of July holiday, breaking ground and such. So with that, I'll send you some options for the OAC meetings. We're gonna start having those, it looks like the week of June 20th. So I have your email. I know what dates are good and bad. So we'll be talking about that, my team and I, this Wednesday. So we're moving right along with that. So I'll report to the next meeting. I'll let you guys know. I did not have on here, because there wasn't really anything to report, but just to let you know on the summer projects as well. The Grimmer HVAC project, the town called today and my permit's ready for that. So we're gonna start that work this week too. So I'll give you guys an update on that next board meeting as well, but that's gonna start this week. So we've already kind of started doing floor protection and everything for that as well. Any questions on either of those projects?
Sure. Lots going on in the region. I see that they're adding on to Timothy Ball over at Crown Point also, and then they got the big project at Hanover.
Crown Point is adding on to they're doing something almost all their schools. If their bond holds out with the money, because with the inflation and costs. And I will tell you, we did do some bids last week for the project, and the market's real tight right now. It's a very weird market right now, with the stock market falling, the inflation soaring, but construction's exploding, and the workforce is very, very low. So it's a hard market right now.
It's very competitive, you mean?
Very much so.
Okay.
Very much so.
You know, you mentioned that the drawings were done for Bibbage School. May we see them, or may I stop by and see them?
Well, it'd really be hard to, what do you want to, we're just talking a bunch of electric and mechanical and.
Oh, you don't have the exterior framed out?
No, I'll bring the elevations. You want to see the elevations?
Yeah, I'm just curious about the design.
Yes, it pretty much is trying to match the existing.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you mentioned something to Cindy about an OACB. What's that stand for?
Owner, architect, contractor meeting. Cindy's the board liaison, so.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Bill, on the summer projects, can I ask you a question?
That was my next item, so, yep.
Okay. So as you have the 3 columns here, awarded, started, and completed. So if they're awarded, that means that basically you've decided who's doing the work.
Right,
and
they're already out. Some of those are just annual maintenance, which we did back in January, right.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood this. Thank you.
And I was back on that to Dr. Malco, I'll segue into that. Probably I have 98% of the stuff awarded. The good news is, the only really item I'm having an issue with is probably going to be postponed is the replacement of the Kaler PA. That's lots of electronic chips and stuff, and as you guys all know, that's hard right now. It looks like I'm not going to be able to get all the parts and components for that till almost Labor Day, but they've worked with me, and we're going to work it out. He's going to up his labor for me over the winter break, and we're going to be able to replace it at the winter break. So that's one item that's not going to get done this summer because of the supply chain issues. We started a whole bunch of stuff today. This was our big day today because the last week was short, give the custodians some room to clean out. But we've got all the landscape mulch done, all the playground mulch is already done. We started the concrete replacement work today at Grimmer. I said we started the HVAC work. We were going to start paving Holman today, but with the rain we did not, so that will start tomorrow. And I've got fence repairs are starting the high school Wednesday at the athletic fields. So things are going to be going all summer long. So that's the update.
Hang in there. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Our Director of Business Services, Mr. James.
Thank you. First, I just want to give the board an update on the financing for our Bibbage project, the bonds. So prior to going out to sale, out to market, we go through a bond rating with S&P, Standard & Poor's, and I'm happy to report that S&P increased our rating from an A to an A+. I was not necessarily expecting that, but I was very glad to see that as well. In this volatile market, as Bill indicated, with economic uncertainty, the fact that S&P had more faith in us. That was great. And so I just want to hats off not only to my staff, but to the board, because one of the things if I included in the report was that they like that we have strong reserves in case of a downturn, and the fact that we haven't overextended ourselves by adding personnel, adding programs that aren't being funded. So, you know, Dr. Malco, you mentioned that the K thing, but we wouldn't get any money for that. So it is a problematic where if you want to add something like that, what do you want to cut? And so it's always been an issue. But S&P really likes our reserves. They like we don't overextend ourselves. So I just want to bring that to your attention. Got the great bond increase rating. On May 10th, we went out to market and we sold the bonds. Capital One came in and in essence bought all the bonds at 3.55%, and it was about 0.5% less than what we were kind of guesstimating. It was looking, because the market rates have gone up steadily since January, and things that we're seeing in the market were over in the 4% range. So we're happy that Capital One took an interest in us, and we will be closing on those bonds this Friday on June 10th. So things are looking good, and we'll get the bond proceeds, and I'll let Bill continue on with this project. So any questions on that?
I think I just want to make a statement about the cutting something to add something that we might need. That made me think about the operating referendum balance and where we are with that. Will you be giving us an update on that soon?
In July at the end of the quarter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it'd be nice to know where we are with that operating referendum money.
Well, yeah, we are pretty much running at the margin. We were running in the positive on that account since we started it at first. But we made the conscious decision to pump a lot of that money into teacher salaries this year. That's why our teachers were able to get the pay increases they did. So in essence, we've maxed out. We're pretty much running at the margin for our revenue in is what we're spending out of our referendum fund at this point. There is a cash balance. It's probably about 1 year's worth of expenditures, but we have that, you know, just in case. We'll see what happens in 6 years. But I will say there isn't really much wiggle room in there to add things to. We working with the team over here, look at things that regarding, you know, as they mentioned, hey, we need to put more money into adding these things that we already have where we need to put more focus on. We look to see that because if assessed values go up, we get a little more money in that fund, and therefore we try to see, okay, we have a little more dollars, where can we best put that to serve the kids that we're already serving? So.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on. My next item is to seek your approval for the professional leave requests in your board packet.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Marshall,
Second?
second by Ms. Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And my final item is to seek your approval for the donations that were listed in your board packet.
Move to approve the donations.
We have a motion by Dr. Medlin,
Second?
second by Ms. Kelly. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
And we do not have any public comments this evening, so we'll move on to board comments and consideration of future agenda items. Mr. Marshall.
I have nothing in particular. However, I've been thinking about this in light of what's transpired in our society over the past, well, it's been happening for the past decade. I just want to make a short comment. We have to get ourselves together and get this corrected. We can't have children, adults, people being massacred on a daily basis. I know this may not be the appropriate forum for discussion on that, but I have some very strong feelings about control, and I hope our Congress gets off their duffs and gets something passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kelly.
No comments this evening.
Dr. Medlin?
No comments, thank you.
Dr. Malco?
Well, you know, I wasn't going to comment, but Howard, you're right on that. And I think about at our local level, the gun controls that are in place. It occurred to me while driving the other day, teachers have to go through, correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Mucha, but teachers have to go through security every once in a while, right? Every so many years, they have to be updated?
They have security things that they have to do every year.
Yeah. Does a gun owner, are they periodically required to update themselves?
On guns,
Yeah.
the teachers?
No,
Gun
Howard was
owners.
talking about guns.
Owners.
Right? So my point is that teachers, if you remember not too many years ago, they started that cycle where the teachers have to be, reissued a new license or based, and all those security questions have to be asked.
Are you talking about background checks too?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
we are on a cycle with that, and Mrs. Pedersen takes care of that, and
Yes.
they have to complete those background
Yes.
checks on.
So is that true with owners of gun? I mean, it's a rhetorical question, but that's where I'm going with this. But anyway, maybe it's not the right format, so I'm going to be quiet now. Thank you. Go ahead.
I just want to say it was a nice graduation ceremony, so thank you to all at the high school. I know we had some newbies, and they did a great job, so thank you. Our baseball team, I understand they lost to Penn the other days, so they are done, and our softball team, they went pretty far also, so congratulations to them. And that's all I have for this evening, and we'll turn it back over to Mrs. Mucha for board calendar or future activities.
We will see everyone back here on June 20th for our next board meeting.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.